It's true of everybody, actually. If you want to understand the person and how they work, you can ask them what their favorite TV show and who their favorite character is on the favorite TV show, and they will tell you about the idealized version of themselves.
It's Monica on Friends, by the way. So,
welcome back to Power of the Mind, the podcast that gives you simple tools to help you better understand yourself and others. This week, we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions, everyone's favorite attempt at making ourselves better each year. We're going to talk about why they fail so often and what you can do to make sure that yours stick this year. Stick around. It's a good one.
hey, everybody. Welcome back to Cast 11 and Power of the Mind, presented by Granite Mountain Behavioral Healthcare. With me, as always, Greg Struve. How's it going?
Groovy.
Awesome. Tubular. It's New Year's. You know what that means.
How about that?
Crazy.
Another year.
How that went by so fast.
For real.
Super, super fast. It's like December just gone.
Yeah. Well, the year goes by fast when you don't spend it in your house.
Yeah. You're always traveling and
that's
just moving around. And I mean, between, for me, work and cheer and everything else, it's just a blur. It just goes by super fast. But I want to talk about resolutions today. Because when you think of New Year's, everybody, why is that a thing? How did that get started?
Well, I don't know the history of it, but I think it probably has to do with the idea of trying to be better and starting off a new year on a new footing, and we talked about spending the holidays with family. I mean, being around family is often a little bit stressful, and it often can remind us of, where we would like to be versus where we are. And so I think having an annual time of reflection where we think about, how am I doing really? And are willing to take a look at what's working and what's not.
It makes sense. Because I always laugh because, you'll see all these posts that starting January 1st, I'm going to eat better. I'm going to lose weight. And it's like, well, it's, December 2nd or whatever. You could get a 29-day head start, but nope, wait until the 1st, because that's the magical moment when all the bad habits I've ever had, I'm leaving them behind. Oh, that makes sense. I'm leaving them behind. In 2022, I'm done. Smoking or overeating or exercise. I'm exercising every single day. Starting January 1st.
Yeah, the health club always has a discount, a special New Year's discount.
But you know what? I think I'm going to start January 2nd because January 1st, we're going to be tired. I mean, you just stayed up till midnight.
For real.
It's probably pretty busy the night before. I'm partying. Might have a little hangover.
You might even have leftovers to take care of. You want to dispatch your leftovers before.
Yeah, because all the chip dip is still there, the party platters. That party sub is not going to eat itself.
That's right.
And you cannot throw that away.
No.
It's probably going to take me a couple of days.
Maybe January 3rd or 4th.
Well, but when is Monday? So should we start like the second Monday of January?
I think that's a much more adequate plan.
Perfect.
All right.
So this leads me into why don't resolutions work?
Well, the fun part about resolutions is sometimes they do. Right? That's the exciting thing is, and sometimes they're related to New Year's and sometimes they're just related to our life and not happening around New Year's necessarily. So, the only way we make change is with some sort of resolution. And a resolution is simply an acknowledgement of what is. That said, most New Year's resolutions are a product of a bunch of shoulds and are a product of temporary discomfort. The reality is that change happens when the pain of staying the same is stronger than the fear of change. And when that happens, change is sort of inevitable. Now, there are some things that can really prevent that. The biggest thing that can prevent that is blaming something else besides myself, or blaming myself to the point of shaming myself. The research is really clear. If I feel shame about something, I actually tend to continue to do it. If I beat myself up, it's a good sign that it'll continue. And I think part of that is because we're sort of playing victim to the parent within ourselves when we beat ourselves up. It allows for the cycle to continue. but an honest assessment, a straightforward look at, what's happening in my life. What is something that I would like to do differently, that I probably need to do differently, that I am willing to actually do differently?
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting question to ask. Not what should I do differently. Shoulds don't work very well.
What am I willing to do? Right?
Yeah. What is something my life would be better if I did, and I'm willing to do it.
So,
And most people can find one or two things, and it's probably a valuable exercise, whether it's New Year's or a different time. I think the idea of engaging in New Year's resolutions is probably of great benefit. I was talking to a client one time, and she said, "Well, I think Christmas is silly. We should just be good to each other all year long." And I said, "Well, that's ridiculous. In that case, I'll make sure we don't celebrate your birthday anymore either."
well,
Like we should just be good to each other. I should just celebrate you all year. Well, that's silly, And the idea of having a particular time when we culturally say, well, let's start anew. Let's start something fresh. Let's wipe the slate clean and try again. Cool. I'm a fan.
But how is it going to be effective? So you mentioned it's something that I'm willing to do. Are there tricks because you've said like our brain wants to just protect us, right? It's always like sensing danger, keeping you safe. Don't care if you're happy, just keep you safe. But I also think the brain's kind of lazy too, and it kind of does what you want it to do. Right. So how do I'm going to make this resolution. I think for me, if I declare it and I make it public, everybody knows.
Accountability helps.
Accountability.
Social context is a really important motivator for change.
So a friend of mine, a coworker, every year they do, I don't know if they do it at Thanksgiving or if they do it at Christmas, but they all write down one thing, something they want to achieve in the new year or something that they want to, whatever it is. But they put it we have like an ornament that we hang on the tree that has all of our Christmas wishes or whatever in it.
Sure.
And then at the same time next year, they open it up and they say, okay, how you doing on that resolution? Or how you doing on, you said you wanted to read, 12 books this year. How'd you do on that?
That's pretty neat.
So I think that's definitely something I want to put in my, tradition or something that we do as a family, and just because now 12 months from now, I have to stand in front of these people and say, oh, yeah, I didn't even read a book. Like I didn't even read the ingredient list.
How many did you read? None.
0.
Well, that's the other thing is accountability to the social group has to mean something to you. So it has to be a social group you find meaningful, and it has to hold you accountable in a way that is effective for you. So if there's a lot of rejection and shame, that might not be, for some people, that might be very effective. Fear can be a motivator, but it's not, I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing it that way. But if it's a group that can hold you with love and encouragement, it can be very powerful. And for most people, they need more frequent reminders than every year. Every couple of days, every week are great.
So with cold turkey, especially in your field, and not
I like cold turkey.
Not like the leftovers that we have to eat till January 5th or 6th, but so stopping something cold turkey or I'm going to the gym Monday and I'm going to work out 2 hours a day, every day, it's very unrealistic, right? So
it tends to be.
So just trying to think it's, how do you trick your brain into going, nope, I'm not this person anymore. Man. I'm healthy. I eat well. I exercise, 3 or 4 times a week. I've stopped smoking and I'm not going to get in these bad situations anymore, whatever. But it just, for me, I think, the top ones, I'm going to stop smoking. I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to lose weight. I think that's probably the most used resolutions.
Sure.
So, how do you, I wonder what is the percentage, what's the time frame? If you made a resolution on December 31st, is it by January 12th you've already broke it?
I guess it probably depends on the person and the situation, the resolution. I think that's probably why the New Year's resolution thing is sort of lamented so much, because it's actually really hard to change.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons it's hard to change is we really like doing it the way we do it. Like, I like bad food. I like being exercise hurts. It's uncomfortable to go for a run. And it's not much fun to eat in a healthy way. And it's not much fun to abstain from smoking. Smoking is a very social activity a lot of the time. If I quit smoking, I might have to get new friends, or at least it's going to make my connections to my existing friends change and shift.
Right.
Sure as heck can't go stand out there and not smoke. That's going to be weird. And also I'm going to be in front of people who are smoking, which is going to be challenging for me. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of subtlety and subtext to what I'm changing. I have to really ask myself, well, why? Why do I want to exercise? What is it about exercise that is appealing to me? I like to exercise because I know at some point my body will work less than it works now. Mm-hmm. And I would like that point to be further away. So the older I get, the more aware I am that once we hop into the 30s or so, it's just a downward glide.
Well, when I get there, I'll let you know. See, then my kids are there. Well, and that was the thing too. It's like when I was like, okay, I'm going to start working out. And I had to recognize what things I liked doing and what limitations I would have with, whatever, I've got vertigo. So, and running, if you're a runner, God bless you, because I see people running and I don't know where they're going and nobody's chasing them. There's not a lion, but they just run and they love it. And I just can't get behind that. I can't do it. But I like doing weightlifting or, stuff like that, or I've really started enjoying Pilates. Pilates is enjoyable for me. So, but I'm super competitive. So I have to find somebody in the room and I'm secretly competing with them the whole time. So
yeah, CrossFit was that way for me.
Oh, CrossFit.
Yeah, CrossFit was great.
That's a crazy CrossFit.
We do CrossFit for everybody at the treatment center because it has a social component and an exercise component. And when you work out, it does incredible things to your mood. Mm-hmm. I should have mentioned that in the last episode about depression. I can't believe I didn't bring that up. But, if you want to get rid of depression, move more, eat less sugar, and sleep effectively. You get good sleep. And that's like 80% of the deal right there. There's an awful lot of folks who come to see me who,
just in a rut.
Yeah, try to find a different way of sleep, try to sleep a little bit better, have better sleep hygiene, get off your phone a couple hours before you go to bed, make bedtime a priority, get some sleep and eat a little bit better and do something to move your body and get some of the hormones that get released when you exercise. Endorphins. I think endorphins are just the brain's hormones. Hormones are in the body and endorphins are, I think, the same thing, but in the brain, but I don't remember. But do that and things get better very fast.
Well, and especially when you surround yourself with people, because you talked about, getting new friends. So it's like finding those friends that, hey, this is what they do, and maybe rise to that level. But that's a tough one, today I'm this person. So
yeah, in 10 years, you'll be the sum of your 5 best friends. That's how human beings are really wired. So if you look around and you see some friends who are not moving you in the right direction, you may want to really think that through.
Yeah. We're reading a book at work right now that talks about that. And it's, kind of taking inventory of your friends. And are they, on the same path that you want to be on? Are they successful? Are they, and we've told our kids that the whole time. You literally are who you hang out with. So if you're not hanging out with the high caliber people, because it's so much harder to get them to rise to your level, they'd rather pull you down to theirs. And that's usually what ends up happening. So
yeah, that's an effective New Year's resolution, is to look at where I'm at and who I'm around and see if that's where I'd like to be.
So baby steps, or do you think cold turkey?
Depends on the situation, depends on the person. What really works best for making a change is to put yourself into an environment where that change, for example, if you're wanting to change your dietary habits, spending time reading books about that particular whatever sort of food lifestyle change, not diet, but lifestyle change. I think that's very effective. And talking to people and maybe getting into some forums online where you're reading about it and making connections around it. And then you just kind of wait it out. And you almost wait until all the parts of the psyche come on board organically. And then one day, it drops away, right? So if you're smoking and you get on how to quit smoking websites and read books on quitting smoking and just spend time around people who are quitting smoking, and you can do that for a while. And if you do it earnestly and enjoy it and find connection and find something that makes sense to you, one day you'll discover like, oh, today's the day. Yeah. You just wake up and today's it.
I was talking to you when I first started, like, just losing weight and working on that. And you would tell me it was a great moment for me because you're like, why do you want to lose weight? I'm like, oh, and you say all the right things, right? Oh, I'll stop smoking because it's bad for me, or, I want to live longer. My wife hates the way I smell, whatever. But really, when you drill down, and I think for me, it was, do you really want to, stop smoking, or is it just what's expected of you? Because if you're not ready to change, you're not willing to give up whatever is bringing you this, this habit or this joy, then I don't think it's going to work. If it's like, I'm going to stop smoking because my wife wants me to stop smoking, like, I don't think you can do it. I think you have to trick your brain or really be ready, it's not just because, well, it's January 1st. So I'm better now. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop doing drugs, or I'm not going to be drinking on the weekends anymore, or whatever. So for me, I had to be really honest with why I wanted to lose weight. And it was, you get a little vulnerable, and it's like, you really uncover the root of it, and it's okay, I'm ready to do it now. And it's been, for me, 6 months, and I don't cheat. I don't, I do what I'm supposed to do. And, it's worked so far, but I had to really do a lot of work mentally on myself, because it was, examining why it's failed before, examining why, what's going to be different this time, because we can all know how to lose 40 pounds, but keeping it off and sticking with it, that's where I really had to put in the work and really examine. And I think just dealing with you every week is what, but you just really helped me examine, like, why do you want to do this? How come? And for me, that's what I had to do. Because before I was just like, okay, I got to do this. So, but it's helped. So just really declaring it and being ready. So it wasn't the date.
Well, yeah, the date, it's the truth of it. Mm-hmm. It's really understanding the truth of it. Because sometimes the answer to why do you want to lose weight is, well, I really don't.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay then.
I really don't want to
acknowledge that truth.
Yeah.
Allow that to be what it is. But I have to, or I should. Well, you don't have to. And it's possible to say that you should. All that really means is you would like the benefits that come from that, but you don't want the benefits more than you want to keep doing what you're doing, or you do, but that's it. That's the reality of it. And until the scales have tipped, until you really, when you really understand, that's funny. When you really understand the why behind it from your own perspective, and when you've taken a chance to really listen to yourself, really listening to the part of myself that is vulnerable and quiet and buried is often very important. A lot of times when folks struggle with weight loss, they have a part of themselves that's, maybe adolescent, maybe child age, that was neglected or was just very, very scared a lot of the time. And food can be very satiating and very comforting. There's some families where food is a form of love. And in almost all circumstances, eating food settles the nervous system. So it can be a way of getting the needs met for connection and settling. And sometimes I really have to listen to and attend to that part of myself that needed that so badly. and is often still around. We all have that.
Mm-hmm.
We all have the little girl, the little boy within, and we have to make peace with it. And sometimes it can be helpful to talk to it, close our eyes and just say, hey, are you in there? What do you need? Sorry, I haven't been talking to you much.
Mm-hmm.
And you can learn a lot in that process. And a lot of, first you discover why you're doing what you want to do. And then sometimes you can negotiate, hey, the body isn't holding up so well. Probably need to eat a little bit less. What do you think? So, well, I like eating. Oh, well, okay. Let's have a conversation about that.
Mm-hmm.
A civil, respectful, kind conversation instead of me just beating you up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think the first thing is you got to want it. You have to, and even more than want it, just like you said, it was definitely for me was having that conversation of why and why it's failed. And is this really what you want? Is it worth, because it's like one of the things I read in the book that we're reading is, the average American watches this much TV and, you should be filling it with, podcasts that mean, better financial this or, read these books. And, instead of, I love TV. Like I love watching TV. So I don't want to give up TV. I enjoy it. I watch Big Bang Theory for 2 hours every night before I go to bed. It's just on and I fall asleep to Sheldon telling me how the world is, and
yeah.
I love that. So it's just.
Who's your favorite character on Big Bang Theory?
Oh, is this going to tell you?
Yeah.
I do like Sheldon because, and I also like his girlfriend too. What's her name? Sheldon and, the girlfriend, just because Sheldon is crazy, I think. Like he's such a dynamic character and she's found the way to calm him and she loves him and she's just learned his idiosyncrasies and just, she gets him and she's uncovered she's made him feel things that he'd never thought were possible and to love another human. So I think I like her the best and I can't think of her name right now. So that's funny to me because I watch them every single night, but it's, yeah. So what does that say about me?
Well, I mean, you kind of described your ideal archetype of yourself, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It makes sense because she's the one that gets him. And nobody else gets him or he's annoying to everybody else, but she's like, no, he's genius and brilliant. And
she sees what's underneath there and she gets a piece of him that nobody else gets. And
it's true. Yeah. Oh my gosh. They're psychoanalyzing me, but it's true.
It's true of everybody, actually. If you want to understand a person and how they work, you can ask them what their favorite TV show and who their favorite character is on their favorite TV show. And they will tell you about the idealized version of themselves.
Mm-hmm. It's Monica on Friends, by the way. So
what's that?
Monica on Friends, by the way. So
nice. Yeah. What do you like about Monica on Friends?
Monica, I just like everybody, all the other characters were just kind of floating around, but Monica always knew like she had a goal. This was her path. She always seemed to be the most, centered. I mean, you had Ross, it's the archaeologist and all that good stuff, but she just always seemed to be in control of the situation. As I speak, I just realized absolutely. Should we do a Brady Bunch too? But it's just, So, but I do love TV. So,
yeah. So back to that. You were talking about how the book says you should watch less TV and you say, I should not watch less TV.
Not. I enjoy it. So, I mean, usually watching with my husband. So it is that time. I don't know. Is it better to turn it off and discuss our day, even though we've done that already? I enjoy watching TV. So I don't want to give that up. Yeah, so I would never make that a resolution, right?
Yeah. You have a shared activity and that particular activity is one you enjoy. So yeah.
Of course, I could probably watch it on the treadmill, but I'm not going to do that either.
That's an interesting point, isn't it?
Yeah. So resolutions, they can work.
I'm a fan, actually, much to the dismay of many of the folks that I've talked to about them. The idea of Hey, what can I do to make myself better? Let's take an honest and forthright look at my year and at my life. And if something's not working in my environment, what can I change? If I have people I don't like, if I have a job I don't like, if I have life circumstances I don't like, how can I own those circumstances and what can I change about them? Sometimes the answer is the only thing I can change is my attitude toward them. But often I can do more than that.
So maybe I think the knee-jerk ones, the easy ones, smoking, lose weight, going to the gym, but maybe it's deeper. Maybe it's like you're saying, maybe I work too many hours and I need to, Fridays, I'm going to make sure that I'm home and present by 4 p.m. or 5 p.m., whatever, little changes. And maybe it's deeper than just not smoking or.
Well, that's the other thing. If you want a resolution to work, it has to tie into who you are as a human being and also who you want to be. Like, it's really important. It's one of the things that makes us not monkeys, essentially. The idea that we can look at who or how we are and say, I want to be better than that. Everybody wants to have a high self-esteem, and they want to get rid of this internal critic, right? This voice in our head that calls us names. Now, we can soften the critic, but the reality is the critic is driving us to be better. And the reality is we all could probably be better. And so taking the shame out of that and just looking authentically and honestly, how could I be better? How am I treating people? What's my attitude toward others like? What's my attitude toward myself like? What matters to me? Does my life actually embody those values? Spoiler alert, the answer is usually no. And that's where having somebody in my profession can be of value, right? I can have somebody who doesn't have any vested interest in whether I quit smoking or not because they're not married to me.
Totally non-biased, right?
They're not my kid. Well, somewhat non-biased to the best of their ability and who just likes me, right? That's the thing with a therapist. You pay them for the time, but the relationship is free if you have a good therapist anyway, or a therapist you connect with. And they can listen to you talk, and you can listen to yourself talk, and you can say, what matters to me? What's important? Where is my behavior inconsistent with that? And what would it be like if I change that? What would I risk? What would I lose? Am I willing to lose whatever it costs me to change that? Am I willing to risk failure and try anyway?
Well, and for me, that's, with coaching, cheerleading and all that stuff, I always think like, I'm going to be nicer. I'm going to walk into the gym and I'm going to be positive and I'm going to, just be uplifting. And I really see how that doesn't work. And so I surround myself with coaches that are very positive and very uplifting. But I find that there needs to be a driver who is pushing and is tough. I mean, I coach from a place of love and respect for the athletes. But it also, if I am this sweet and rosy, like, you guys, come on, you're going to do great. Let's go. It's not going to work for that situation. I have to be we're on the mat. Where's your feet? Where's your hands? Where's this? Set this, hear this, stop talking, get over here, do this. But
so you tell the truth.
I tell the truth. And it is very much I have to be that driver, because without the driver, the bus is like crashing off a cliff.
Well, you have a lot of people around you who have a lot of love, but the problem is love without truth is insane. Love without truth does really dumb things. Love without truth says you can drink in my basement as often as you want. I'll take care of you. Right. I'll protect you from the outside world, even though you're shooting. I had a guy one time say, Greg, no daughter of mine is going to live on the streets. I said, fine, then she's going to die in your basement. You can have those two choices. And unfortunately, in your life, those are the two choices, as far as I can tell. If you're not willing to allow her to make that choice, she will die. I believe she died.
Yeah, because you just enabled it the entire time.
Love without truth is enabling. Truth without love is shaming. Truth without love sucks too. And so finding that combination of the two is really important. You see a lot of love without truth in the culture, a lot of enabling, a lot of saying, yes, blame everybody for the problems in your life, blame everybody for what's gone wrong, and for it's the culture's fault or so-and-so's fault or this, that's fault. It's all love without truth. I want to be nice. I want to be kind. Well,
Do you want to hurt their feelings?
You're going to hurt people. You're going to see insanity and craziness come forward if you do that. Now, and then the other side of the culture says, well, I'm going to tell the truth without love. And we see how that works. And that's a shit show too. And so the two of them go after each other. And the problem is when you divorce truth and love like that, chaos follows every time. And so that's a really important point in terms of resolutions too, right? It's loving to yourself to decide you want change, but you have to tell yourself the truth first.
And is change necessarily the best thing, right? No. Because for me, I can't change at practice. I have to be, and I don't want to be always the bad guy, the tough guy, because
somebody has to tell the truth.
Somebody has to tell the truth. And I'm glad you're saying that, because
was that good? No, that was not good.
It's not good.
You are capable of more.
You are capable of more.
In the traditional family system, that was the masculine side of things, right? The masculine influence was to tell the truth and to demand more. And the feminine was to defend and take care of and nurture.
And I feel like that at practice too. Like I'm the dad, and I have coaches on the mat that are the moms. It's okay, you're doing good, but just Coach Elicia wants this or whatever. And I'm okay with that dynamic. So I know that it
sounds like it's effective too. Your team is
they're
extremely
really they're
extremely renowned, right?
Yeah, they're very.
Aren't they? They're
champs.
The best in the region or something like that. Or
they're good. We just took a couple titles, so I'm happy with them. I give them options. I'm like, there are many other sports you could play. There are, there's teams that aren't as competitive. There's sideline cheer that you're cheering on football, and there's no shame in saying that's what I want to go do. Like, go do that. But you're here for a reason, and I'm going to push you to be the best that you can be. And we have conversations too. It's like, hey, this is where I want you to go, but this is what we've got to do to get there. And is this the boat you want to be riding on to do that? And
that's a good way to get buy-in too, from an organizational perspective.
And every one of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about toxic masculinity, but not nearly enough talk about toxic femininity. Toxic masculinity essentially is, you can call it truth without love. Another way of putting it is the idea that strength always wins, that power always wins, right? And there's truth to that in biology. In nature, the strong survives.
Yep.
And the biggest and the baddest eats first. Now, in a group of human beings, it's actually a little dangerous to be the biggest and the baddest, because there's always a group of 3 or 4 who can take you down. So there has to be a certain amount of sharing happening at the top of the hierarchy. But that's the essence of toxic masculinity. I am strong, therefore I get what I want. Might makes right. That's it. Toxic femininity is the idea that we can love our way into whatever we need to love our way into. Love doesn't harvest crops. Love, there's some things love does not do very well.
Yeah.
Love does not create in a productive and effective fashion. It doesn't demand better. And there are times when if we don't demand better, we die. So that's pretty important. Love doesn't make the best neurosurgeon. And if you got a brain tumor, you're not looking for a loving doctor.
No, it's okay.
You're not looking for a doctor who has great bedside manner. If you have a brain tumor, you do not give a shit if your doctor has an effective bedside manner.
Nope.
You want the best, the baddest.
We're going to take this on aggressively, and we're going to get it done. You
want a doctor who thinks he's a god. That's the one situation in your life when you want a narcissist, probably. You want a doctor with an ego the size of King Kong, AKA somebody who is incredibly competent and incredibly confident, and who maybe is competent and confident because he needs to be.
Yeah.
Because underneath it all, he's very insecure and all this other stuff, right? You want that badly.
Mm-hmm. I think about boxers that are entering the ring, and their egos are so big, and it's people, oh, he's so stuck on himself, or he thinks he's so great. He has to think he's great because he's getting ready to step into a ring with a guy who also thinks he's great, and they are going to punch each other. And by sheer will, you've got to try to beat this guy because you're both strong, you're both fast, whatever, but you have got to believe that you are going to win this match, and you have to believe you were the best that ever stepped into that ring. And I just watching like two boxers is, they have to believe it. And so my job is to make sure these girls, when they step on the mat, they believe it. They are the best that ever stepped on that mat. And so for me, it's like, yes, should I be nicer? Sure. But it doesn't work for me in that situation. So I would never make a resolution that would say, I'm going to be a kinder, gentler coach.
Well, it's a good example.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'd say is if you were all truth all the time, if you were just an angry, grumpy, difficult person to be around, nobody would stay on your team. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't be successful, right? So there's a part of you that has learned to balance it and has kept, you also are very socially aware. You have to be very socially aware. And there's a strategy to what you're doing, right? There's a whole balance.
Yep.
And that's really an effective metaphor for the material that we're talking about today as far as, how do I do a resolution? Well, how do you do a resolution? Do you love yourself into change? Probably not. Do you truth yourself, aka shame yourself? Do you beat yourself into change? That won't work either. There's a balance. And if you find that balance, then you can become a little bit better than what you are. And maybe even like yourself a little bit better as a result.
Yeah, that's how I had to approach, losing weight. It was, I went through the shame first of this is why. And then it was there was a lot of love there too, because it was like, I've wasted so much time being on the other side of this. And it's time that I did this. And I really celebrated the milestones. Oh, I did this. I'm going to treat myself to this. And it wasn't, I'm treating myself to a burger in and out. It was, I'm going to go buy a new outfit. I'm going to go buy these boots, whatever it was. It was just, get this, my hair done or whatever. But it was almost embodying a new person. And it's helped me really enjoy, never in my life have I enjoyed getting ready in the morning or going into the closet and picking out something to wear, but I've made it more of an experience. We bought new clothes and bought, new shoes and did this and did this to wear. And I designed the closet really pretty so that when I would, get ready in the morning, it was joyful and fun and reminding myself, don't blow this. Don't blow it. You're doing so good. Don't blow it. So it's such a battle to change. It is so hard to do that. So you got to be tricky. For those people that just are, I'm going to stop smoking. I'm done today. And you have the willpower to do it like that. Crazy. That's applaud because it is hard to change. So make a resolution. I think it's good, but know that it's right and know that it's what you want, right?
Makes sense to me.
Makes sense to me. Well, I'm an expert now.
That's true.
30 episodes, you told me I'm qualified, but
I think so.
It's because you're pulling me there. So, but okay. So make your resolutions. Be smart about it.
That was a good one.
I like it.
Yeah.
Want to end it there?
Sounds good to me.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's to you too.
Thank
Happy
you.
2023.
I can't even believe
Oh, how did I get this old?
I don't know. I remember stocking up on canned foods in 1999, getting ready for the year 2000.
I remember having hair.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the days.
Mm-hmm. Hope and hair.
Hope and hair.
You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you for making 2022 the year of power of the mind. I've had so much fun with that. And on to 2023.
Here we go.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. another episode of Power of the Mind with Granite Mountain Behavioral Healthcare. We'll see you next time.
For information about mental health and addiction treatment, you can reach out to Granite Mountain Behavioral Healthcare online at granitemountainbhc.com. That's granitemountainbhc.com. Or give us a call at 877-338-6287. That's 877-338-6287. If you have a comment about this podcast or a question you'd like us to address in the podcast, you can check out the Contact Us page at my website, gregstruve.com. That's GregStruve as in Victor, E as in Edward.com. This has been a Cast 11 production brought to you by Granite Mountain Behavioral Healthcare. Follow Cast 11 on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Talking Glass Media.